A lot, as everyone knows, going on in our nation's capital these days, but there's even more. The Freedom Caucus today taking the lead in the House, backing an Obamacare replacement plan, the new legislation to be introduced by Congressman Mark Sanford as a companion bill to Senator Rand Paul's measure. It would abolish the mandate that everyone have coverage or pay a fine, including a tax credit of up to $5,000 per person, to fund part of a health savings account and allow insurers to sell policies across state lines. Freedom Caucus member Congressman Jim Jordan says it's time for the Republican Party to stop dragging its feet.
The American people have had it. They are frustrated, and they're frustrated because you got to remember the framework. They were told 9 different lies when this thing passed. Like your plan, keep your plan. Like your doctor, keep your doctor. Premiums will decline. They'll decline on average $2,500. Deductibles will go down. Website is secure. Website will work. Emergency room visits will decline. They've actually increased. And they were also told these 23 co-ops we're going to create are going to be the cat's meow. 18 of them have already went bankrupt. So everything they were told about this law turned out to be false. And it's in that context where they're looking for a cure and they're tired of waiting. And frankly, so are we.
And so are they. Joining us now, Congressman Jim Jordan, who serves on both the Judiciary and Oversight Committees, and as I said, a member of the Freedom Caucus. Congressman, good to see you.
Good to be with you.
You're insisting on the leadership leading. Is that the correct interpretation here?
Well, yeah, because the American people are tired. They're sick and tired of this law. And think about it, Lou. 3 of the last 4 elections, this was the central issue, or certainly one of the central issues. And the American people spoke loudly and clearly. So let's quit dancing around it all here. Let's repeal it. The good place to start is the legislation we passed a year and a half ago, the 2015 repeal legislation. Let's pass that. And then let's replace it with what Dr. Paul has introduced on the Senate side, what Congressman Sanford has on the House side, a patient-centered, market-centered plan.
You know, it sounds so straightforward, and yet the House leadership, Speaker Ryan, talking about a step-by-step approach, some cautioning that this is a 2-year process. How long will it take, in your judgment, if the House leadership buys in, how long will it take to move to repeal Obamacare and to replace it with the Rand Paul plan?
Lou, the House Freedom Caucus is ready to vote tomorrow. We vote to repeal it tomorrow, just like we did a year and a half ago. And one of the things, we took 2 positions this week as a group. We said, do the repeal bill that everyone's already voted on. Right now, people are saying, well, I want to change that. I'm not sure about that. In this context of Cassidy-Collins' bill in the Senate, this idea that we're going to keep some of the taxes, this idea that we're not going to defund Planned Parenthood, that we're going to repair something, which implies there's something worth fixing here. That is not the wrong approach. So we're saying in that climate, just do what we did before. Let's put on President Trump's desk something as good as we put on President Obama's desk, and we have some people say, oh, no, we can't, we got to go slower. We're like, no, let's just do that. We had the votes before. We should have them again. And then here's our companion bill, the replacement, which Senator Paul and Congressman Sanford introduced, that does those things we just talked about.
And in that case, do you need help from President Trump here? Do you believe the White House is a willing partner in this, an eager partner? What's your sense of things?
We do. I mean, remember, this is what we all campaigned on. This is what we told the voters we were going to do. We have sequenced it to come up first. We even talked initially about doing this right away the very first week that President Trump was sworn in. It's time to go. Here's the plan. Repeal and replace. We've got the 2 bills. They make the most sense. Let's do this as soon as possible.
And Medicaid will play an important part here in the replacement, as it does, frankly, in Obamacare. There's nothing new about that. So that constant is there to be utilized for consumers.
And we're in favor of giving that back to the states, letting them manage it. We think on a local level things get managed better. We're also not in favor of the expansion, which, you know, some states did. It's just adding to the cost, and we got a $20 trillion debt. But what we really want is our replacement legislation, we believe, lowers the cost of insurance. And so working families, middle-class families can better afford insurance, lower premiums, better plans, less expensive plans out there. When that's the case, you won't need this Medicaid expansion because we're going to have a real market that's functioning out there and doing what markets do, bringing down costs and providing better care, better service.
very quickly as we wrap up here. Rand Paul walked out of a meeting with Speaker Ryan, as you know. Apparently that wasn't an irreparable breach or gesture on his part. Are we going to see results soon in your judgment? That is, are we going to see bills voted on?
Yeah, I don't think Senator Paul was walking out. I think you had something else to get to. In fact, we talked briefly about this today at our, and that's my understanding, at our press event. I think we get there quickly. We think our plan is a plan that makes sense, and frankly, it's the first one put on the table. Here's how we repeal it. Here's how we replace it. Let's do the repeal we did before. It passed. The senators voted for it. The House members voted for it. Let's do that. Our replacement is actually empowering patients, empowering families. That makes sense. We think it brings down costs. Let's do these two things and do what we told the voters we were going to do what they elected us to do.